Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. The internet issues are still eluding me, because it is literally only while I start streaming that the internet suddenly gets really slow. So, I'm gonna try to figure that out a bit more today, but for now, I will just focus on art. Alright, so I want to finish her off, well, maybe not finish her off. I doubt I'll be able to render the whole thing today, but mostly finish her off today. Anyway, I remember looking at the composition yesterday, and I think it's mostly pretty good. I might want to do a little bit more with like the castle and stuff, but I already planned to, so that's just a matter of when I get to it. And I'll go ahead and hide the foreground for now. Okay. Let's see here. So the first thing that I wanted to revisit here is I think that I have some minor perspective issues with the dress here. Basically, her leg is gonna be like over here somewhere, so this won't be against it, which I do think suits the style of dress. This is quite poofy. But I think we're seeing a little bit too much of the pink frills there. So I want to bring those back just a little bit. The fact that my transform box is that large is concerning. I think we might see a little bit of them, but I wanted to bring it back. And then from there, I actually wanted to grab just the entire thing and push it back just a little. Just a little bit. And I want to do the same a little higher up, but I did not want to do that while I also had her chest area selected. I wanted to get that now, while I had it isolated. There we go. Anyway, I do apologize for some of the technical difficulties I've been having with my internet lately. I am trying to get them resolved. Alright, and just for composition's sake, I do want to make sure that I have the light part of the moat there, so this way her dress really stands out against it. Okay. And then I can really kind of mess with those shapes a little bit more. I kind of want to give the better pleated impression, but I'm going to do that a little bit later. Before I go and do things like that, I just kind of want to get the low-hanging fruit corrections. And the next thing is going to be her hand. Right now, how do I describe what I'm seeing there? I mean, saying that I want this to be a subtle expression is obviously wrong, but I want the hand to be a little bit more subtle, I guess. Maybe. So I'll go ahead and put this a little bit closer to her face here. There we go. And then once again, it'll be time to rotate the forearm and reconnect it. See, this is why I put the forearm and the back arm on separate layers. You know, the forearm and then the upper part of the arm here. This is why they're on separate layers. When it comes to stuff like this, I do tend to move things around a bit until I just am completely satisfied with the angle. And let's see, it looks like doing that created a little bit of a hole back here that I need to fill in, but easy enough to do. And then, just as a note to self for later, I need to make sure that the rim light on her arm is really, really strong. Hello again, Tanjiro. Or, Kanjiro, sorry. I read your first and last name at the same time. But, yes. Yes, I've been quite happy with the progress, and this is without all the cool lighting, so I'd say things are going pretty well. Alright. So I think those are all the easy corrections I wanted to make, and now I kind of have to get into some of the harder stuff. So, what I've been looking at is, I feel like stuff around the upper part of her torso here, and in her chest, still not quite right. I noticed it mostly on the side here, like the where all of this connects is like nonsense right now, and before I can render this, I need it to be less nonsense. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then I realized that if I want the horizon line to be like somewhere around here, so that this way the viewer is somewhat below her, that I think I have the perspective over here a little bit wrong still. We should see kind of below her chest. So it's just hard, because whenever I look at pictures with this kind of pose, you can kind of go either way. Where, you know, on my lady over here, where we have the reference, I can see that we're seeing the lower part here, and we're kind of seeing her tummy. And that makes sense. But I have seen on other images where, depending on how far forward they're going and how horizontal they are, this is not necessarily the case. So it could go either way. And the fact that things are a little bit awkward there just tells me it is time to break out the hot pink and a cyan and just dig into some of this stuff a little bit. So I'm gonna go all the way to the top here just so I don't have to worry about things, and I am going to make sense of everything happening here. Okay. So, basically, this is a little bit of a weird pose. I've talked about this many times because it trips me up, like, frequently. Is that there's a twist in her shoulders. And thus there will be a twist kind of at her waist. It's going to be probably something like this. These lines should be parallel. And I think her waist is probably somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit higher. Yeah, since this torso is going back, I think it actually is a little bit higher. Okay. And so I will connect the lines here. This will kind of show some other angles here. I just drew the bottom one a little bit too long. It's fine. Okay. And it's also fine if a little bit hangs off there. Okay, so we have the box like this. And because this is a torso, I've actually been practicing using triangles instead. And that's been working really well, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this will hopefully help me figure out some of the angles here. So that'll continue outside the box a little bit. That's also normal. Maybe I should do that one in cyan. Let's do it. I'll do my triangles in cyan. So just doing all sorts of things to help me see the perspective here. Okay, so that's the basics of that. And then we see the top of her shoulders here. This shoulder might be a bit long, which tracks with some of the issues I've been having. Because, yeah, it should go back this way. And then it gets kind of thin back here. So something like that. And I think this part should actually be more like here. Which does affect my triangle, and that does look a little bit better. Okay. It's alright. Whenever there's problems, sometimes you just gotta slow it down. I'm gonna hide her arm for a second. Her hand, too. So this way I can really focus on that torso. I guess I'll keep the stub. Nah. We'll get rid of everything, so this way I can really focus in on her torso. Okay. I do think that this is going a little further back. In fact, I should get rid of that hair over her arm there. Nothing shall be covering the torso now. Okay. Okay. Yeah, her shoulders do look maybe a touch broad. I am not quite convinced of that. But let's slow everything down and really make sense of what's going on here. Because, yeah, her shoulders do need to be going back behind her head a little bit here. Probably about that high. So I might have them a little bit too low right now. And they might be just a touch too broad. Let me see. Okay. Ah, man. Internet being slow. Life is hard. Okay. And then with the center here, going down like that, this kind of comes back here, so there's my center lines. Then from here, I'll finish off her side there. I think that is showing enough of the side. And if I were to do it from the triangle, it'd be kind of... Let's see. I believe the top of the triangle follows the same lines here, so if I think of this as a kind of triangular prism. So I think that's all right. And then... kind of connect everything like this. Okay. This line's not going far enough back. There we go. Okay. Reconstructing my torso here. Alright, and now I want to get where her hips are. So let's see, her hips are going to be overlapping with this, like, super hardcore. So that's going to make it a little awkward, but I think it'll be fine. It's going to be kind of like this. They're a little bit straighter. Maybe I should do this on another layer with another color. Okay, we'll do it on another layer with another color. I'll bring on the neon yellow and green. Well, maybe not green. Maybe a darker blue. Try to keep them opposite in the color wheel. Oh, all right. And I think I want the hips below. Okay. So if we have that as the torso... Let's see, what are her hips doing? I'm just thinking about it for a second. I think it'll be easier to understand from this axis. So way back here, it's going to be quite narrow. And we'll see a lot of the top. Or, yeah, the top. In fact, I think this can just be the top. That'll be, like, up here. And once again, we see this side. And I believe we see... Let's see, this is the top, then how it connects into the part kind of receding into the back there. Okay, yeah, I see it now. So kind of like this, and then if I was to draw the same kind of triangle, it would just go, like, way oblique. This might be a little bit small, but it's not super important that I get this exact shape right. Okay, so something like that. I'm just going to focus up here for now. Okay. And now... what I want to do is try to pull out the shape of where her breasts should be. So I'll use the same color. And if I think of this as the front and this as the top, we see it because she's leaning forward. What I need to ask myself is, do I see the top of these or the bottom of these? It doesn't look like she's leaning that far forward. So I think probably, you know, same tier as this lady. So it seems like it should be the bottom. So I should see where it kind of connects into the waistline of her dress here. In theory. So let's try to get that structure in. I'll use the yellow. So if I was going to do it like that, they're going to come out of this box. come out of my triangle. And I'll use a triangle for their shape too. I find triangles a little bit easier to understand than stuff like circles or cylinders or anything with a round edge. I just like flats. They're nice. So I know that this is a top. Like, the triangle here is easy to see. The triangle here I'm having a little bit of a harder time with. So there, and probably right here is the center. If I were to describe the center here, it kind of rolls out this way. And here it probably rolls down like this. So my triangle should be something like I say with minimal confidence, but I think it's something like this. No, that doesn't look right at all. Okay. It's okay. I kind of knew that I wasn't quite understanding, and that's why I'm revisiting this in the first place. Let's find the underside of this, where I think it should be. And as a result, if it's tilting upward, I think that this cup going around should be a little bit flatter. So it should roll up a little bit more like this. This is the one I understand, so I'm trying to use this to help me figure out this one. Where does that triangle go? So if it is going to connect up into her armpit, maybe I should focus on where the armpit is. Okay, let's take a look at the shoulders real quick. And let's go ahead and kind of make them a little bit narrower here. Just a bit chonky. Okay. And the side of her body. I think I can hide this for a moment. The side of her body. I'm going to use my dark color just because it'll make it easier to understand. I think it is actually correct to have a shadow here anyway, so it works out. Let's try to match my rectangles up here. Turn them back on. Where'd I put them? I thought I put them with the hand. There they are. Okay. Lost track of what I was doing for a second there. Okay. So it'll probably roll something like this. Just based on where I put everything else. Let's get this nice and shoulder-like. The arm will attach there and then probably, you know, come out kind of like this. Right? It's going to be overlapping with her chest quite a lot. And with the way I have it, it's actually more this way. Yes. With the armpit kind of right here. Okay. Okay. Gotta shade that in just a little bit more. So that this way it looks like it is tilting the correct direction. So it'll be something like that. Okay. And that did indeed make things a little bit easier for me to understand. So let's go ahead and get back in here. This side is fine. So let's see. From the armpit, this would come down here. And, probably be something like this. Again, the round parts will be sticking out of the triangle. This is just to kind of help me get that triangle in there. And the bottom part is like right here. And this is just a side. Lovely side plane. Okay. Don't worry, that makes sense to me. I think I have an idea of what I'm doing now. So the way I'm gonna try to get those in there, I think I want them to be just a little bit higher. The collarbones are not quite right, so I will redraw those too. I should probably actually do that first. Yeah, let's go in there and understand the collarbones better. I might not draw them quite so prominently. So basically, there's going to be this area at the pit of her neck here. I actually do believe that is exactly where this thing is. Yep, sure is. That thing's actually pretty big, isn't it? I have it much too small on mine. Should probably fix that before I do anything else, really. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get the silhouette of this thing a little bit more accurate here. So let's say it's going to kind of connect in the center of her neck there. So it's going to come down like this. Follow the center line. Yeah, follow the center line at the top, and then it's going to come down and be straighter, because there is a very significant plane change here. Out like this. This side will be a little bit more squished, because it's going to be sitting out on her chest like this. I think it needs to be a little bit higher. I just had to think about it for a second, but no, I do think it is accurate for it to be just a touch higher. Just foreshortening shenanigans making my life hard. So when I talk about foreshortening, basically what I'm talking about is, you know how she's leaning toward the camera? That totally messes with the perspective of things, because things get shorter, hence the term foreshortening. So, like, you could think of it as when you are somebody's putting a hand in your face, like, just straight at you. Just straight at you. And, you see just the hand, and then the arm is, like, directly behind it. And suddenly the arm is very much shorter. Like, our brain doesn't interpret it that way, because we know intrinsically that the arm is not actually getting shorter when somebody holds their hand out in your face. But if you actually, like, take a photograph, look at it, measure the length of the arm, it will be shorter. And that's just kind of how that works. So because I have her entire upper torso here foreshortened, she's coming toward the camera here, things get messy. And I kind of had to pull some shenanigans to make everything look nice. Okay. And then there's like another little diamond coming off of it here. I do not actually think I have the proportion of all this correct, but I think it looks good. So it's probably fine. This does tell me that I probably did not actually have her chest too high. And actually, yeah, if we go back to my boxes up here, turn them on again, you can see that's not how the center line works here. This center line now kind of goes more sharply downward. And this is going further back. So it's coming, this part of her torso is coming away from us. Okay. Okay, so this tells me that I may not actually have her neck sitting on her shoulders quite right. Because I do agree that this is the center line. And yeah, this shoulder feels a little bit longer than this one. Okay. It's okay, this is why I'm doing one more adventure with fixing my proportions. And hopefully, with this, we will be good. Okay, and I will move her neck and head into place. I'll start with the neck. All right, let's get the head on there. Okay, I think about here is correct. And I will move the back hair a little bit too. Just to kind of get those lined up right again. Which does mean I'll have to move this thing again, but you know, such is life. Actually, I want this further this way, so I'll just adjust all of her hair afterward, maybe. Because with this here, it kind of creates an annoying tangent with her shoulder, and I hate it. So I want to line up that side nicely, and I will just adjust this accordingly. That'll go over there, and then I just need to grab my liquefy and push in this side until it is looking a little bit better. There we go. No more ugly tangents. And it's okay if it's flowing out like that, I think. Is it okay? Is it? I think so. Okay. Okay, cool. Her head feels a little big again, though. Maybe I over-narrowed the shoulders a little. Let me just pull them out a bit. I think it's mostly this side. Yeah, this side seems alright. And I do need to reattach her arm here. There we go. Put that arm back on, and I think her shoulders will look okay once I put them back on. Head does look big though, doesn't it? It's okay. I don't think I have to change the size that much. And at this angle, the neck should look a little longer. So I think this is correct. Right now, it's a little chonky. So I will make it just a little bit thinner. Okay, and then I can fix her shoulder here. Make everything look a little bit less chonky there. I think I overdid making it a little bit wider, so I'm kind of fixing that too. But yeah, I'm just feeling my way through. But I think this is working. I think it looks much better. I just want the shoulder to curl back a little bit more. Okay, cool. Okay. So I think that's doing better. I will go ahead and put the dark shadow up there. It should be there. And to think, all of this was just me trying to figure out how the heck collarbones work. It's all good. The way it should be. Okay, let's go back to getting this diamond thing right. Okay. So I'm really paying attention to the corners here. I'm trying to make it so that this way the corner of this and the corner of this kind of match the angle of her shoulders here. So that is what I'm looking at there. And I want this top part to kind of match the angle of the tilt, you know, the little strap that's connecting it. I do believe it's thicker than that, but that is a job for future me. Gotta do one thing at a time here. Okay. Let me see. I have the whole thing just a little bit skewed here. That, I think, is close enough for now. And now I will draw the little winged things coming off of it. It'll be a little bit more prominent on this side, just due to the angle. So it'll be something like that. And then the dress will just connect right under them. And just as a quick doodle check, I think this seems okay. Alright. So that's as far as I need to go here. And I mean, there's a few other things I haven't drawn yet. Like, I haven't drawn her earrings. Those are gonna be hell, but should be fine. Let's see, do I have a solid color for the gem that I can steal? Yeah, just over there. I don't want to draw it yet. I'm gonna go back to focusing in on the chest here. So what I want to do is make sure we see the bottom. And I'm thinking about how that affects the shape of the chest here. Like, I can see on this lady that they're still fairly round. So I do not think I need to affect the roundness necessarily. Let's just go in. And I'll try to give more of an impression that we're looking at them from below. And I think another way I can do that is, instead of the harsh shadow there on the dress bottom here, I can actually, like, put a little bit of light through here where it'll connect at the waist. And I think that will also turn it a little bit more. How is the shadows shaken out? And to be fair, this lady is lit from above. So that is probably affecting the way I see things too. So let me think about it in my mind's eye. If I were to draw cross contours across the chest that is facing upward, it would go very strongly this way. Very, very strongly. There we go. I feel like that's turned them nicely. And her entire chest just looks a lot better, so let's see. Let's get back to actually putting in where I think the collarbone should go. So anyway, the pit of her neck. How is that going to work with her body tilted like this? I can check this lady. Right here. And this is kind of what I meant by her neck is going to look a little bit longer. In fact, I do not actually think that I have the frills of this necklace far down enough. And I think it's fine for these to mostly touch, since this is coming so far forward. Just go ahead and extend everything out just a touch more. Okay. Get that weird shape that I keep complaining about due to the shoulder kind of coming up. Okay, that looks pretty good. If anything, I can make her neck look just a little bit longer. There we go. And I'll worry about some of the exact shapes there right now. I want it to make it look like we're seeing a little bit of kind of the underside of her chin there, so I want it to be a little bit thicker at the top. Okay, yeah, that seems alright. Now then... Let's see, so the pit of her neck is going to be like right around here, like right underneath this thing. So I'll probably have a collarbone going pretty high up here. Doing something like that. And this one... Kinda coming up like... No, this one's gonna connect it to up there. More like this. Okay, that seems alright for now. I may or may not actually draw those in, but it is helping me see the perspective, so I think that's fine. And I gotta go put her arm back now. Okay, so right there, I reconnect the forearm. But before I do that, I want to make sure that the back arm here is actually connected to her. That seems like a good idea. Having your arms actually connected to you is always a plus. Very useful. Okay. So I do believe it is now connected, so let's put these back together. Okay. And I do believe that entire thing now looks significantly more accurate. Which means I'm not going to look at it for a while, and I get to have some fun, and I get to render her face. I'm actually going to start with the hair, as I normally do. But yes, I do believe it is finally time to render her face, because I have had no complaints about her face this time. I think it is pretty much the way I want it to be. And oh man, her torso is looking so much better now. I'm so glad that I took the time to go in and figure that out. And I'm gonna get to play with some folds over here soon too, so that'll be fun. But for now, we're gonna go in and work on that face. So let's see, what do I want to do? I want to look at her hair one more time, make sure I really understand what's going on. So you can see next to this strand, we have this one kind of coming out here, and that's going to be this one going onto her shoulder. I'm still not going to draw the earrings yet. They're simple, or maybe not so simple, accessories. So they can be drawn whenever I want. I can literally finish everything else and put them in, and it will affect nothing. Actually, I should probably go into exactly what I'm talking about that. I have been focused very heavily on the structure. So you can see that's why I wanted to make sure that stuff like her dress was in there and that her necklace going around her neck and all that stuff is in there. Because that actually affects placement and perspective. But these earrings, they're just going to be hanging off her ears, right? So as long as I know where the ears are, I can draw them at any time. They will not be affecting anything else. They do not show really anything about the perspective. They might show a little bit about tilt. But that's about it, really. So I can safely draw them at any time. Okay, I have stared at the hair long enough. I do believe that what I have is pretty much correct. Her hand is too small. Okay, I think that's a pretty good place for it. It is no longer to her forearm again. Boop. Okay. So yeah, the hair and this hand are the two things I really should do first. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the hand first. Okay, and so for that, so this way I can see a little bit better, I'm going to invert her face. We're going to go into green goo mode for a moment, and I am going to render that hand. Okay, so this is where I really have to understand things. So first off, I have the colors backwards on this index finger. This part of her finger should be the part in the light, and this part is in shadow. Because right now, I'm not using the moon as the light source. I'm using the magic circle at the bottom for now. And I'm only doing one of them. The other one I will do later via interesting backlight effects. And that'll come just from this one layer right here. And everything affected by the moon will not be put into darkness there. So that's how that's going to work. Okay, and I'm going to make her bald. I am just going to focus entirely on this hand for a bit. Doesn't she just look lovely? Okay. So I kind of want the fingertip to have a little bit of a push to it. So what I'm going to do is I want to kind of bend the final joint here. We're just going to bend it a little bit so it's really pushing into her head a little. There we go. Gotta get the correct energy here. And I do believe that this is a much better energy than what I had before. Just push it on in there. Okay. I'm gonna hide the nail for the time being because I really can see the shape of the finger. I know exactly what's going on in terms of perspective here. So I don't need the nail to help me. And this will just really let me dig in to the overall shapes of the finger and stuff. And let's see, I think that finger's a bit long. So I'm just going to take the whole hand and move it up a little. Okay, and then from there, I guess I will take the tip and move it down a little. Just a little. There we go. That's a much more appropriate length. There we go. And this is where things slow down a bit. It's always funny to me going through and looking at how far I got after each session and just how much changed each drawing session. And as you get further and further, less and less changes. So most of everything that I drew here was drawn in the first two. It's like the first one I focused mostly on her and her pose, and the second one I focused on the shape of the background and everything. And all of that was done in 2. And then after that, I really focused on developing the pose, making sure that the perspective and proportions were right. And that resulted in less and less changes happening as things went on, but it was all very necessary work. And now I'm actually getting into proper rendering, which will slow things down even more. But this is man, frog in my throat. This is where things start to look really good. Like, it's incredible how much better things start to look here. So even though most of the elements are already here on the page, everything is gonna slow down a lot. And I'm probably further from being done than it looks like. Alright, and I want to get the side of the hand in here where it's going to catch the light. I think that is an important component missing, just the palm that catches light here. And that'll make the inside that catches no light very clear and where the distinction is. And everything's a little blocky for now, but that's fine. I will put just a little bit of spots where I think it catches the light just a bit. And actually, I should be using this color for all of this. Let's go replace the color here. And so I'm just blocking in the rough colors here. And I do have the option to leave it at this stage. This is kind of the usual hard CG style that I do on this channel a lot. But I'm not going to this time. This time I plan to take it a step further. And I'm actually gonna smooth all that out, but not quite yet. I want to make sure that my shapes and all my shadow shapes and stuff are looking very nice. I guess I'll go ahead and a little bit here to separate the fingers a little bit more nicely. But yes, I want to make sure that all my shapes are looking very nice. And that there's nothing else that I would like to change. Now I have to figure out how this pinky actually sits here. So I think that the main thing is just that I have the joint going the wrong way. And that might not make sense yet, but it will. Give me just a second here. Because I know exactly how to fix this. I want the joint to go back. So it's going to follow the shape of this hand. So you can see the knuckle there. It's going to follow it. And it's going to go away from us. So if I think of it as a rectangle, I'll go ahead and just erase all of this for now. So if I think of it as a rectangle, so this is one side. Then this side is going to go kind of out like this. It's going to curl here. And then from there, we're going to get the next joint. I don't think I quite have this explored completely right. So let me spend a little bit more time on that. It's going to kind of come out. And Then if I were to draw a cross contour, it'd go kind of in the back, and we'd see it like this. I'm just looking at my own pinky for a second to make sure that I am understanding all of this correctly. I think I am. And it'll come a little bit behind the palm here. So we're going to have a little shadow right here from the palm. Erase this part, since I don't think I need the cross contour anymore. We got a little shadow coming out from the palm there, where it kind of sticks in. And then I think I might need to make this joint just a touch longer and more angled. So let's do that. Which means I probably need to do the same for my other joints, so let's do that as well. We'll just bring them a little further down. Make the angle a little bit more sharp. Okay, looking better. One, two, three, four. I have an extra one. Oops. Whoopsie. Okay. Should fix that too. Okay, so I got a little chonk here. I accidentally added an extra finger because I forgot that the index finger is up here. Hands, man. It's okay, I'm glad I counted, because that would have been embarrassing. Especially for a hand so close to her face. Okay. And then we have this guy going like this way. And down. So middle finger. I think I want the middle finger to be a bit larger. It's one of the bigger fingers after all. But I think that size is pretty good, so I'll leave it there. Okay, then we have ring finger. Still want to angle that a little bit more nicely. It's gonna come out a little bit more like this. And we kind of see a little bit where it's going back. But this part is mostly going to get lost in shadow, so I'm not going to make it super detailed or anything. That's kind of a nice thing about stylization in general. But I think this is even true in realism, is just when things go into shadow, there's less light. And considering light is what allows us to see, then we see less, because there is literally, like quite literally, just less to go off of things. So there's less opportunity for us to see it. Okay. And then from here, we start finally getting into this finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the thumb is going to come out down here somewhere. I erased it. I'll redraw it later. Okay. So now I can have this sticking out where it should a little bit more. So it's kind of going into the back. If I think of it as a cube. If I think of you as a cube, what do you do? What do you do, friend? Let's see, where are your sides? You have one side kind of like this. And then we see the top, which I have up there. So, Yeah, something like this. And then I will just wrap the last joint of the pinky around. And I feel like this is still too small. Okay, so there's that last joint of the pinky. I do not have this twisted right. It's not, like, going far back enough. I am struggling with a bit of the foreshortening here, so you know what? Let's back up. I'm gonna back up to, like, this point. I'm going to erase everything else, and I am going to get a new layer. And I'm gonna break out my hot pink. And I am going to dig into how this connects. So we have this first joint there. Then we'll have a point connecting here. A point connecting here. And this guy is not going to be entirely visible. It's going to come forward here. This part will come forward here. And so here is the back plane there. Let's get my cyan. Okay. I got a back plane here. And then the plane coming towards us. Here and here. Oh, that's pink. I'm definitely thinking wrong. I'll try again. Let's see. I have this coming out here, and I want to draw the finger such that it follows the curve as the other ones. So on these fingers, we'd see the side like here. So up here, we'd see the side like this. I guess it's fine, since I do it everywhere else. To get this color in on the side, so I can see where the side is. So like that. Sometimes I gotta break it down. And even then, I still feel like it has to go a little bit further back. Okay, cool. Alright, I think this works. I'm not completely convinced that it is 100% accurate, but I think it works. So I'm gonna call that good. I think the palm actually sits on top. So we'll be digging into the bottom of her palm here. Okay. Yeah. I'm okay with this. This is fine. Okay. Make sure everything's connected there. And then how does the top of this palm go? Like, up like this, right? Okay. I think I still want to move that around just a little bit more. Send it just a little bit further back. Okay. And then this part will be in shadow a little bit, I think. This part will definitely be hitting light. And then this part in the very end here will go back into shadow. Little tiny pinky. Okay. Should be fine. Okay. How do I feel about the index finger right now? It's a little thick, isn't it? It's okay. This is one of the many reasons I'm starting with the hand. I mean, the big reason is just that I like to start with the things on the top, so this way I know exactly where they're going to be, and then I know that I don't have to render the hair underneath this hand quite as thoroughly, and it just kind of saves me a bit of effort. And I can be lazy on the things that I know for a fact are going to be underneath this. But if I didn't have this perfectly defined right now, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't necessarily know where all these pieces were going to be. I'm going to keep the palm very boxy until I'm ready to blend it all together. Alright, so let's do that. So it's been a while since I've done something like this, and I don't think I have ever done this on stream. I've only done harder CGs here, so. And then I can start paying attention to that stuff like where her knuckles are and various things like that. So that'll be fun. So all I'm doing is taking my airbrush and just very lightly going over places. I should probably keep a swatch somewhere. Okay, so I'll use this one. I'll just clear everything else on it since that was just me doodling while I was trying to understand the pose because the pose was very hard. So I will put these colors up on the moon. Just so that I have them and I can reference them as I please. I can't really see that one, so I'll go put them over here. Okay, so that should be good, and now I can pick out colors as I need them. And we'll make this hand look very nice. We'll leave her in green goblin mode for just a while longer. So I'm kind of blending out the areas that I feel like should have a softer transition. And eventually I'll blend out the areas that I think should have harder transitions, and I will go from there. So for the really soft ones, I'm using an airbrush. And for the harder ones, I'm going to use just the basic opacity brush. Not gonna do anything real fancy. I don't typically use texture brushes for anything I do, just because I kind of don't like them. May be weird to say, but I don't mind my paintings looking like they were made in digital. They were made in digital. So why would I want to stop them from looking digital? So I don't like to do things like add paper textures to my things and that kind of thing, because if I liked the texture of paper, I'd draw on paper. That's kind of the way I see it. So I just don't personally add a lot of texture brushes and stuff. Just keep things simple. Okay, so I want to soften up the side plane of this finger a bit. But here, the plane between these two fingers, I want to be quite hard. Maybe not that hard, but still quite hard. And I'm also going to start paying a little bit more attention to kind of the muscles and other folds in her hand here as I render it out. And you can also see I'm making a point to stay at 100%. I am not zooming into 200%. I do not want to get lost in the details here, and I do not want to spend longer rendering out all this than I have to. It's already going to take forever. So. Okay, and then I kind of want to get the knuckle here. Let me remind myself how knuckles work. They are going to have a slightly harder edge, so I will press a little bit harder with the airbrush here. Krita's airbrush is fantastic, and kind of lets me do stuff like this for free. So I kind of am able to get a little bit of the hard edge that I want for the knuckle here. And then I'm not going to do things like put little creases or stuff like this. I do not think that would look good, but I will put a little indent right here just to show where kind of the folds of her finger are going to be. Like if you bend your finger, you'll see stuff like that. So that's where her skin is folding a little bit. I will not add additional shadows or anything. Okay. And I still don't want to get too lost in everything here. I will add a few shadows around the little thing kind of hanging out there. I'm not going to get too detailed on that. I will do that after I render out this thing. So this is enough for now. Just kind of remind myself that it will be there. Get the next knuckle. It's not quite... like the light from the knuckle is not going to be quite where the fingers fold. And then the one on the index finger is going to be kind of sticking out there. I should draw it. So we'll see just like a little tiny touch of it right there. But I want to keep it soft. I don't want her hand to look super bony or weird. So, wait, I'm going to keep it very, very simple. So there we go. We got those little guys in there. And then I'm going to cut into the palm just a little, because it has its own tiny little folds. And that's kind of where one is going to be. Okay, and I think this is a sufficient level of detail for now. Maybe I'll render out some of the spots over here in the fingers a bit. It's like I will be going back over everything again, so I'm not too worried about getting everything into its final state yet. I just kind of want to get it all started. But this is where some seriously magical stuff is going to start happening, and I am excited. Like, really, really excited. It's going to be great. But I don't want to over-render yet. So I will make her unbald, and I will fix her face. And we can see that the hand is kind of getting lost in the head. So I can put in shadows where appropriate. And I know that this is where they will fall now. And this is a case of these shadows aren't especially realistic or anything. But it's okay. They don't have to. Kind of thinking about the shape of her nose on her face here. This is going to be the bottom of it. I'm probably going to get rid of this line entirely and just shade directly on the head layer. And then I know that there's going to be some light on her cheek going through here. Okay. So there we go. There's most of the hand. It's looking a little lost in there, so I probably still have to do a little bit more work with it. But that is the start. Let's do some hair. First thing I want to do is I want to smooth out all the edges. Right now they're a little rough and a little blurry. So I'm going to do that. Make sure all the little hair strands that should be there are there. I'm going to put the big strands in for now and kind of leave it there as if it were anime. And then I will soften it up. It's still going to be extremely anime. I'm not going full semi-realism here. I'm just a little bit softer than I normally do. Let me look at that big bang again. Okay. I do feel like I have this going a little, not quite low enough. Like, if you look at her hair, the one on this side is much lower than the one on this side. This one seems fine to me, but this one seems a little bit high. Where is it relative to her eyebrow? Yeah, like half covering her eyebrow. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. And I erased out the little strands there. I will put them back when the time is right. And in order to get this curve looking right, I am actually going to hide the hand for a second and just draw the curve all the way through. Because right now I'm focusing on getting the just overall shape the way I want it to be, and then I can go back in and add all of my shadows and highlights and fun things once the shape is looking nice. So she'll just have green hair for a moment while I work all this out. Okay. And I am going to be very particular about it. I might even zoom in to 200%. I'll start at 100 for now. And even though I won't do any rendering this far out, I see what's sticking out there. I must have added shadows while the layer was not locked. Oh, that's unfortunate. This does mean that my head shape got all messed up somewhere. Alas. Okay, I'm gonna fix it a little. Now I don't know if I can trust that chin. Okay. That's better. Mistakes were made, but it's okay, I can fix it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go all the way around this hair. And slowly but surely, it should start to look pretty finished. Okay. I do want to get the strands by her face, like, really, really good. That's super important. Because not only are they what's lining the face, I mean, just face in general is so important. You can't go easy on the face. And here I'm just trying to get the angle on these strands a little bit more accurate. I think this one is a little bit long. The correcting of proportions never stops. Okay. I'll go ahead and keep this little guy out here. He's doing fine. He's not interfering with my ability to make a curve, so he can stay. He can stay. Yeah, and I was pretty messy up to this point. This is where I have to stop that. All there is to it. All there is to it. And this will be kind of interesting, because my process for shading hair is actually a little bit different than what I would do if I were doing more of a hard color transition, since I'm going soft here. So I can show you guys that soon. But first, I do like to get the general shape right. And for that, I like to get everything real smooth. That is just my personal taste. So a lot of this is a little bit blurry from me having to do things like resize the head and use the liquefy tool and just all those things. All those things make things a little bit blurry. I'm even gonna cut through this real quick. There we go. I just want to follow this curve perfectly. So now I just got to spend a bunch of time going through it all again and making sure that these curves and all of these edges are how I want them to be. I don't have to be quite as particular in a softer style, but I like being particular, so it's fine. I like knowing where things are going to sit. Things just look a little bit more anime when the shapes in the hair are really, really strong. Okay. So let me refresh myself on her hair again. Where does this little guy stick out? So we've got this thing kind of coming out of where the tiara is. Am I satisfied with the tiara's location? Mostly, yeah. I guess I can kind of render out the side of that. I'm not going to worry about the spikes and stuff just yet, but I can get the band. I still just want to focus in on the hair. Okay, and I want this part to be a bit thinner here. Make it look like it is receding into the back a little bit more and also going into her hair. So the hair kind of starts covering it as it is wrapping around her head. Probably sitting somewhere behind her ears, so I think I want it to go a little bit further down. There we go. I am admittedly not looking forward to drawing the pattern on the here. That's gonna be a thing. But what I think I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna draw it elsewhere and then use probably the mesh transform to push it onto her head. And if mesh fails, I'll try cage. That should let me shape it correctly there, and I just think it's a little bit easier to draw like that. For such an intricate pattern here. Like, that's a lot of stuff. You know what? If I'm gonna do it like that, I'm gonna help myself keep things simple and just focus on the band for now. So the little piece wrapping around her head. With her hair back, I think that the top part is actually going to be quite thin. But we see a little bit more of it on this side. It actually wouldn't surprise me if the very top of it just disappeared entirely, but I think I want to show a little bit. Just for my own reference. Then on the side, we see a little bit more. There we go. I think that's fine for now. Okay. So now I know that this strand will kind of come out here like this, and we'll just kind of roll out. Just gently curve out here. And then it'll come back up. And we'll have a strand kind of sitting on top there. So this guy. And where does he go? Just above the eye. So we will let this guy roll like this and go out here. Just like that. That is perfect. Okay, and then there's going to be one more. I think I want to get some other hair before I do that one. So I will go ahead and smooth out this one. Gonna smooth out every little piece. And let's see, I think this angle is good, so I'm gonna try to avoid changing the length any further. Just want to get it nice and smooth now. Okay. And then this guy's gonna feed into that guy. I think his location is fine. I guess I'll go ahead and go smooth this big one before I get too deep into where they connect. That makes sense to me. I might actually merge these layers back together soon. I have to reinvert the colors because otherwise it'd be awkward, but it probably makes sense to merge them again. Okay, so the way it should work is this guy needs to connect onto this guy. Then we have the kind of loose strand going down and onto her shoulder. So that'll sit like that. And don't worry, it doesn't really matter what color I use. Oh no, I don't want it to go that way. I want it to go more like this. Okay, well, let's go ahead and merge these together. I want everything to be working together. All right. So I want this to sit on the shoulder here. And so that means kinda rolling this down like this. I think that'll be pretty good once I connect it properly. There we go. Over here on this side, I think this is fine. That all looks pretty good to me. Okay. And now I let it droop down like this. I am changing a little bit of it, but that's okay. It is okay to make changes. Always is. And I'll just let these two strands be separated. I think it looks fine that way. Alright, so how's it looking? No, I think the side needs to curve inward. I do. Okay. So I'm gonna try to build this out a little more nicely. Why am I getting weird colors? Because I don't have any filters on right now, do I? I have the foreground off. Oh, I see. I do have some stuff there. Okay. In that case, where do I have this additional light? Or additional shadow? There we go. Okay, that should be in the foreground with everything else. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now I should stop getting weird colors. Okay. And here, I will let it kind of break right about there. This side will kind of come down and around like that. And I do think I want this guy to connect at a slightly different spot. Want him to just kind of... I think I'll just redraw the whole thing, actually. Kind of come down like that. There we go. Make sure everything is following the silly pseudo-gravity I have. Okay, I would like this part to come out just a little bit more. And thus, this part needs to come out just a little bit more. There. How is that? Is it nice and smooth now? I think it's nice and smooth now. So I can kind of get into where some of these things are going to go. I have the hand off. Let's put the hand back on. Okay. So it has been a very long time since I've done hair in a soft style. A very, very long time. And I don't quite remember how I used to do it. So I'm going to be trying things. And trying things means I get scared, so I make myself a duplicate layer just in case things go wrong. So I can always revert back to this state whenever I want. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is make my swatch. because I'm going to be killing all of these colors. Or at least a lot of them. I'll go ahead and put the ones for the hair on this side. Okay, so those are the colors I have for now. I think I also have the, like, bright highlight color, which I guess I can grab real quick. Okay. What I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just make everything a solid color, and then I'm going to grab my airbrush and lightly do the gradients that I want. So because the light is coming from below, the dark parts are going to be up top. Which I'm sure feels very weird with the moon, but I do think that this is the way to go about things for now. So I'm only paying attention to the light from this magic circle down here. Okay, and then the light parts will be down here. So now I kind of have that gradated. And I'm thinking about where some of the darker shadows should be. I think I'm actually going to do this on a new layer because I am scared. I am scared. Like I said, it has been a long time. So I already know that there's going to be something up here and something over here. And it just goes all the way up. I guess I can set this to multiply in theory. No, that looks awful. Okay. Nope, I'm just gonna set it to normal, and I will fix things as necessary. So this guy's kind of going in the back. I know that if I remove her hand again so I can see that there's this guy here. So there's going to be some dark shadows through here. Kind of coming up. And this part is just kind of open. So there's going to be a dark shadow over here, going all the way up and around. And right here, kind of going up and around. Let me see, how does that look on her again? Oh yeah, and I didn't draw the strand coming out there. I guess I should do that before I forget again. I will do that with base color. And he kind of comes out from here, goes straight down here. So not visible for the moment, so I guess I should do that with regular shadow. So this is going to kind of come up and around like this from the side there. So that means that this guy is going to stick out from here and come down kind of like this. Okay, in which case, I gotta want where he kind of comes up to be in shadow too. I don't like that one. That one I'll keep thinner. You can see I'm being very, very thin there because I feel like the light won't be catching that as strongly. Okay. So far, so good. Okay, so now I can just have all the strands kind of separated out. And I suppose we start making the hair texture-y. I have to think about how I do that. Okay, I'll use I've used these brushes in the past and remember liking them. So these would be Krita's... what are they called? Wet brushes, I think. Yeah, wet bristles rough. So I'm gonna kinda sweep back and forth here. I did put in the light already, right? Well, I could make that more prominent wherever I want. So for some of these areas that are supposed to be quite dark, I will be a little bit more careful. That's why I didn't smooth any of them out, because I knew I was going to be doing something like this. And basically the way these brushes work, they're pretty interesting. In that they kind of blend things together. But if you press hard, you'll get more of your foreground color. And if you press soft, you basically get none. So they're useful for kind of blending things like this. So I'm mostly pressing pretty soft here. I did not put a proper line up through here. Okay. So unlike the hand where I just said, okay, this is probably good enough for now, I want to bring the hair pretty close to completion. And that's kind of my goal here. And I'm still very much paying attention to my light source, which is going to be down there. So that's why I want this side to be a little bit more in the light. And I can already tell that I'm going to need to add way more lights to this. But this will get me started. Actually, yeah, I kind of like working big still. And I still want to keep the big groups that I have kind of separated out like this. Because that will help it look more like her. Okay. I can tell it has been a while. Because, man, this looks really smeary. I'm glad I have a backup in case this goes kind of bad. I am a little bit concerned right now. Okay. So I'm gonna start going back to my airbrush and kind of work it in some groups again. And then I can go back to the other one and kind of blend it all together. And I might even want some darker shadows in some places. I think that might actually look pretty good. This is one of those cases where I don't quite know what to expect, but I will do my best. And, you know, so far I'm pretty happy, actually. I think it should work out. Just gotta be a bit more particular about some of these light areas. And that should help a lot, actually. I might even want a slightly lighter color, so let's bring a little bit of this bright highlight that I have out there into some of this. This part I feel like is a little bit too shadowed. But up here I think it's okay. And then I know that like right about here where it's kind of going back, I think I want a little bit of a dark spot here. This way it looks like it's kind of going back, sitting on her shoulder. Having to think a little bit more than usual here, so... Alright. And I can just kind of gradually start building stuff up, and then maybe I can add a layer here. Where I literally just go in with a light gray purple and kind of brush in the darkest shadows. That this way that they'll be there no matter what. Maybe a little bit darker than that. Okay. I will add this color to my swatches. Just so I don't lose it. And now you can actually see the color that I use when I set my brush to multiply. It's generally somewhere around there. Sometimes it's more purple, sometimes it's more blue. Sometimes it's lighter, sometimes it's darker. It's fine. So these are what we'd call, like, occlusion shadows. Just where the light basically doesn't hit at all. And that's the idea there. And it should help give the hair a little bit more body while I let everything else be a little bit more floofy. So hopefully it'll look a little bit more hair-like, and I kind of want to get those strands back in, because I realize I hadn't done that yet. And you kind of just sit right on top of the eye here, kind of come out like this. And down here, there's one just kind of sticking out right between the eyes here. So something like that. Okay, that should be good. Let me zoom in and make sure it actually looks good. Does not. There we go. And now I'll go back and kind of put the occlusion shadows that I think should be there back in. It'll be kind of like this. And like this. Okay. And I think I will put in some more big groups over there. So for that, I will want this color. And I just kind of want to lightly brush in a couple of darker spots here. Just to make things look a little bit more hair-like. And some lighter spots here. And then just kind of move them into each other a little bit. I think I might even add just a touch of that. Oh no, my layer was not locked. Okay, I need to back it up. Okay. Okay. Kind of want some darkness around where these kind of come out, and probably right around here too. Going in with the flow of the hair. With the flow of the hair here. Okay. So all of this should make things look more hair-like for when I'm ready to blend this out. Hair is one of those things that I've been trying to study a little bit, but I have a lot more I need to do. I have not been quite so satisfied with my hair recently. I think I've gotten to the point where I'm happy with it on my, like, harder shading. But for soft, I don't think I've done any proper studies. I don't think I have, actually. So, I will definitely add that to my list of things to do. So I'm just gonna go back and kind of rely on the knowledge I gained from my harder shading style. And we'll just do it like that for this one. But I think as long as I have the flow of the hair going in the right direction, it'll be fine. And it should look pretty good once I put in, like, the more specular highlights. Okay. And then I remembered on this side, we do kind of see the outside of the hair, so I'm going to put in another bright light over here. Okay, and I'd like to sculpt this strand a little bit more. I think it's okay for most of this to kind of be dark, because this is the bit of hair that's like the furthest away from the light, and it's also going back. So I think this guy's just going to be a little bit darker than everything else. There we go. And I just want to pull a little bit more strandiness into that. Okay. I think this is constructed okay. I want a little bit more darkness in the back, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick a color for back there. Maybe not that dark. I think that's pretty good. So I will add this to my swatches. And I will just put a little gradient back there. Kind of go over everything there. Okay. And once again, I can kind of pull it through and add some spots that I think are going to, some little strands that I think are going to be particularly dark. I'm just doing this all with the airbrush for now. I might go back in and do it differently, but I think this is fine. This is all very much science and experimenting for me. I don't quite know what to expect. I'm still a little nervous. Okay. And I am still trying to follow the flow of the hair, which I kind of messed up there, so I'm kind of going back over it. And this is gonna be just for the back here. And I will still leave the occlusion shadows that I have planned on the separate layer. Let's see. I see a little hole back there. Fill that in. There we go. Okie dokie. But yeah, I think that helped a little bit, so now I'll go back to my blending brush, kind of blend that out, and I think I'm gonna have to do another pass to really get this feeling good. But this should cover all of the big shapes. So once I go through and kind of neaten things up, it should look pretty good in theory. That's the hope, at least. Like I said, I'm a little nervous. But I gotta try things. And it has been a while since I've done proper soft hair like this. But so far, it's looking like I might need to go back and try again, because I don't know. It's not quite matching up for me. Maybe I should start with... Okay. So this looks super muddy, and I kind of hate it. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. Just to keep it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to straight up try again. And I'm going to approach this more like I do for my heart shading. Okay. So this is where I zoom out, and I'm going to find the back of her head here. And I'm just going to start brushing in where I think the darkest points are. Gonna stay zoomed out for now. Let's see, we got this big block of hair kind of through here, so it'll be like this. And it just goes all the way back. Hair is too important to leave it in a state that I don't know. I didn't like it. It wasn't working for me. And it's just way too important to leave like that, so I will just try again. And I'll figure out how to make it soft like this. So this does fit pretty flat on her forehead, but I want to make sure that I can see where kind of the shape of her forehead and stuff is. Okay. So while I paint, I don't actually see myself as creating tutorials or anything here. I'm just kind of explaining my thought process. So that's why I'm like, you know what? It's not working for me. So, well, we'll try again. And I do try to explain what I'm thinking and what I know. But ultimately, that's just both my opinion, and sometimes I do try new things. And sometimes they don't work out. Always a little bit sad, but it'll be okay. See, this I have a lot of practice doing, so I kind of already know what to do. And it's going a lot faster. Okay, so let's see. This strand here is a little bit more like this. See a little bit more of the inside. And I do want to make sure that I get the little strands coming off here. It's something that's always nice with digital that I still appreciate very much, is that I can keep my previous attempt and I can compare. Okay. This one I feel like has a little bit more body to it, so I'm gonna kind of let it wrap like this. Finding the right spot to put these shadows, whereas this one I feel like is a little bit flatter. So I don't want it to stick out quite as much. And I should be rolling this one the other direction, because the light source is from the bottom. So this is the dark side. This is the light side. Okay. Kind of get that side pretty dark there. Okay. And maybe just a little bit more darkness there, since so many little spots are kind of overlapping it. Okay, so that's the basics. And in this case, I also had some light, which I liked. So I will just put in some lights. It should give it a little bit more three-dimensionality. And then I just have to figure out how I'm going to make this soft. I'm not quite sure I'm going to do that yet. But this is too hard to match with how I plan to do everything else. And it's like, you know, maybe I could just change my mind and make this one more hard. But I don't think that would match with what I've got going on in the background. Like, the moon is very soft. The clouds are very soft. So I want them to match that style is the thing. And that's important to me. So I would like to do it like that. Okay, that's right. And then over here we have that little spot on the shoulder that'll get a little bit harder. Kind of let all that roll too. Okay. There we go. I think we got some pretty good separation going on there. This one I'll leave dark, but here could use a little bit of light, I think. Okay, and then normally what I'd do is that this is where I'd go in and, you know, smooth everything out. But because I'm doing science, I'm not actually sure what that'll look like. And that's kind of what makes this hard. So let's see, I'm gonna make this a little bit more strandy. I need it to follow the flow of the hair, which for this point goes like this. So you can see it's all pretty rough. But that's how I always do it. I start pretty rough, and then I smooth it out. So if this was gonna be my standard hard CG, this is basically how I'd leave it. And I just go through and clean it up. But because it's not, I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna clean this. So I have some decisions to make. 'Cause, I have many a decision to make. What are you going to look like? I'm just kind of getting how it'd be blending hair normally. Something like all of this. Make it all look a little bit more hair-like. So that seems pretty okay. I guess I'll blend in the light part too. It's just it doesn't match back there yet. I don't know. It's like I know the shape of the hair, so if I don't want to figure it out now, this might just be a case where I need to go look up some ideas. So I might save the rest of the hair for next stream and just get into her eyes and the rest of her face and stuff. But normally, this is about what I would do. And then I'd put in the highlights. So I guess I'll go rough those in now. So let's see, I think it'd be right about here. Let's see, where would they hit here? These ones are gonna be a bit messy, aren't they? Oh, that's alright. I can have a couple of groups of highlights here. I think that'll look fine. I don't think this one needs any. Do want some down here, though. So something like that, and I can always add another one here if I feel like it needs it. But I think this looks pretty okay so far. And then, you know, I'd be smoothing out those. But I'm not gonna do that here. Okay. Well, once I figure out how to do it, I think it'll look great. And this is probably fine for now. So let's go do some eyes. And face and head. So, normally, I do the overall head shape and stuff before I go in and do the eyes. I'm gonna get started on it. But I don't want to smooth it out until I know the eyes, because I'm actually gonna do some shading around the eyes for eye bags, waterline, and that kind of thing, which I wouldn't normally do. I just want to get the shape of her chin out here. And as a result of me wanting to add a little bit more detail than usual, it does not make sense to go in and add those details until I am confident on the location of the eyes, since they will be affecting those details so strongly. So I'm going to do things in a slightly different order. The only thing I'm going to care about is this bottom highlight, because I want to make sure that it looks like we're seeing the bottom of her chin a little bit here. Oh yeah, I don't need to smooth this. What am I doing? It's gonna be soft. Habits, man! Alright. Go ahead and use this color. I think I might want them a little bit darker, actually. What color do you use for your real eyelashes? Something pretty light, actually. Okay. I don't want it to be that light. I'm just mix my color here. That is perfect. Okay. I will add this to my swatch. And I will carry on. Once again, it has been a long time since I have drawn in a softer style. So I'm just going to clean up as usual for now. And because I think where the soft style is going to come in, especially, is around the eyelashes. Let's see, what do your eyes look like? Okay, yeah, this should be good. This is going to be good. Okay. So I'm going to make them nice and open. Very, very open. Yeah, I might actually have to go, like, trawl through some of my old art when I was doing a softer style more often and just remind myself what I did, because, man, it has been a long time. I think I remember it roughly, but it has been a very long time. I'm glad to be doing it again. I don't want to lose my ability to draw in whatever style I feel like. I just really, really like being able to do that. It makes me very happy. But I feel like my art skills have improved in many areas, and I just have not adapted them to some of the other styles yet. So I gotta kind of remember. So I might do like a practice head or something before next time. I do remember keeping my eyes pretty hard. So this should all be fine. But I'm probably not going to properly render anything out until I am a little bit more confident in how I want things to look. Let me see. I would like you to come down just a touch. Yes. Okay, how do your eyes look? This seems fine. This I could probably make a little bit less sharp. Just the angle from where the top lash connects to the bottom lash. Okay. And then on this side, you can see once again, leaving things kind of messy. I mean, I could go full and just do it like that. I guess that has its own charm. They're a little bit different, but I think this better suits what I'm going for here. I'm gonna hide her hair for a second, so this way I can see the corner of the eyelash there and make sure that they are all lining up properly. There we go. But yeah, when it comes to the expression, I want it to look very, you know, still like she's plotting against you, mildly crazed, but still with enough plausible deniability that she could say that she's not planning anything, and she might be able to gaslight you into believing her. So I don't want to go too hard on the crazy. Just, you know, reasonably hard. Okay, that should be good. Do I want to put in eyelashes right now? Normally I would. I do love drawing eyelashes. But nah, yeah, gotta be patient. I'll leave it like that for now. Which also means I won't do the eyeballs themselves yet. I will fill in the eye white though. Make sure that everything is ready for next time. But fortunately, just figuring out some of these edges and stuff is all very, very important. Let's see, do I have anything white that I'm shading here? I don't think I do, actually. So I guess I'll pick a shadow color right now. Maybe like around here. Oh right, we're lit from the bottom. We shade the bottom. There we go. God, it feels so wrong. I love it. Anyway, I think I will still define the edges of the eyes. I just won't shade them. And I won't give her a pupil or anything yet because then I will be slightly freaking out and everything will look really creepy until I actually do shade it properly, and I don't know when that's going to be. Okay, that should be good. Let's give her some eyebrows. Eyebrows are going to be the same color as the eyelashes. This is what I meant when I said that a lot of the stuff wasn't going to stay quite this way. Because that the contrast in the face wouldn't be quite as strong. Because I knew that I was going to go in and change the color of the eyebrows and the eyelashes and these facial features. These will not all be the same color. Okay, let's get these eyebrows looking good. This should actually be a little bit longer than her eye here, so this needs to come a bit further out. And I'm not going to clean them up until I have the hair on. I'm just making sure that I have them all in the right place before I go in and try to shade them. Or try to smooth out their edges, I guess I should say. So let's get the shape just right here. Really wrap things around here. Let me see. Do I want to do it kind of like that? I think that looks cool. Have them point a little bit more upward. Okay. There, and now I will know which points I should smooth. And I will get these smooth, because at most I'm gonna add a few little things to make them look a little bit more hair-like. But for the most part, they're just gonna stay pretty smooth like this. So it is just fine. To go ahead and smooth them out, make them look all nice and lovely. A little thick, so I'm kind of taking it back a little. Okay. I like this expression. It is great. I said before that I think I'm going to do the nose on the head layer itself. I'm just going to leave that spot to kind of help me know where it should be. So I'm not really going to clean it up too much. I'm just going to get the shape to be a little bit more what I want. And I want it to be a little bit smaller on top. Because we are seeing this face from below. So it'll look a little bit more like this when it's all said and done. The mouth, however, I will do that here. So normally I'd like start with the shadow color, but you can see that's not nearly dark enough. So we're gonna get it nice and dark. And I think I want it to be a little bit redder, so I'm gonna go more toward the pinks. There, and that feels a little bit less harsh. So let's get this shape just perfect. And there will probably be some... I don't think I'm going to draw lips or anything. This is still an anime painting. But I will add some kind of hints of them. You can see that I have the... what would be the upper lip here lit a little bit more thoroughly and stuff like that. Okay. So I will smooth out that line, and this is gonna be like, you know, a good half the face here. Oh, I still have the layer locked. No wonder it's not working. So yeah, this is gonna be a good half the face here. And, with that, I guess I'll start getting into the body a little bit here. And I can start kind of defining the edges of her arms and stuff. But I should at least have everything pretty clearly defined, and then I can just remember how to shade. I remember how to shade clothes. Clothes are pretty easy. But I think I'm just going to define all my edges and worry about getting all the proper shades next time. Just, man, it has been so long since I've done a soft shading style on hair that I just could not remember how to go about doing it. It's like the last time I did a soft shading thing, I was doing a semi-realistic style, which is, you know, very different from this, because I still want her hair to retain her big, bold, graphic anime shapes. And when you're doing semi-realism, you keep some of that, but it's not quite as strong. But here, I want it to be extremely strong. I want her to look super anime, man. So I'm just gonna remember how I did it. Okay. That should be pretty good for the mouth there. Yep, I think the expression still reads just fine. I like it a lot. It makes me happy. I wasn't quite satisfied with the smoothness on the eyebrows, so I'm going to go ahead and fix them up just a little bit more. And then I will start getting into kind of her chest area. Actually, I guess before I stop, I can get the tiara. Tiara is going to be another thing that's easy to shade, although I don't want to shade it before I shade the hair. But I can show you my plan for drawing it. So that will be fun. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the hair for a second and make sure that this all flows correctly, since I had to make the eyebrows much thinner. Should be shaped a little bit more like this, I think. Okay. I wanted to make sure that I had all the shapes in the right spot. Okay. And I think that looks pretty good. So sure, let's go play with that tiara. I'm just gonna draw it in black, and I'll go ahead and draw it over here so that this way I can see. And then I grab my symmetry tool. I'll just draw it right on her face. It's fine. Sometimes it's good to do this with no distractions, but That's fine. And I'll just kind of copy what I see here. So I see a big triangular shape on top. That goes out into a little spiny shape here. And then it's really, really thick. And there's only a little, almost kind of diamond shape in the middle there. Okay. Then there's a hollow circular point underneath. This curves a little bit more round. Then we come out and around and we get another little kind of shape like this. And that will go into this circular part. And it is all filled in. I think the circular part needs to be a little bit larger. And this diamond part needs to be a little bit longer. Okay. Let me zoom in a little just so I can see a little bit better because these shapes get really intricate. Okay, so we have another big circle shape that's bigger than this one. Not much bigger, but a little bit. So I'll just do it kind of like this. And actually, this circle kind of folds up like this to make a way for this circle. Okay. A little bit too big. There we go, that's better. And then there's this shape in the middle, kind of hangs in. All right, now I'm trying to make sense of everything over here. Okay, so that's this claw. There's like a shape coming out here. And then it kind of transitions into this over here. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of erasing later. It's fine. And we get the next spike. I definitely have all of this a little bit disproportionate. So what I think I'm gonna do... Yeah, let's simplify this further. So we have the bottom part. All right. Okay, I have to hide Runie. How do I get out of the group? I will hide her and my swatch and just draw in the moon. Okay, so we have this base part. And it's fine if I draw it too big. I will resize it accordingly. And then we have this spot coming up the top here. So that's how long this is going to be. And then I'm just going to define this as one big triangle. So it's kind of like this. No, it's a little bit more pointy. And then there's another part that comes out like that. This is where the next spike is going to come. And he kind of comes down and then out. And then from there it touches. And we get the next spike. And it is smaller. Or no, it is larger. It is larger than the one that came before. So I had it about right there. And then it'll come down, and then the hairband just kind of continues. And we get another spike right there. Okay, so I should be able to break this up a little bit more easily now. Should be a little bit easier to make sense of now that I know where kind of the big groups are. I just wanted to get into details too fast. Okay. So we got kind of the big spire at the top there. And then the diamond shape in the middle. So I don't need this line anymore, it's fine. About how far down is this circle? It's pretty far down. So I think that circle is going to be right about here. So that means that this diamond should come down a little bit lower and be a little bit thicker at the top, I think. Maybe a little bit more like that. And then there's the kind of circle that's here that it goes into. And I think a little black spot there is fine. Most of this is going to be hidden, so I'm not going to refine it or anything. I'm not going to keep it clean. Okay, I don't think the slant is quite that strong there. It does get steeper there, but I think that's a little bit too much. Okay, then we have the first little claw, like here. And the second little one... Well, the first one's a little higher up. Second little one is about here. That's too big. I'm just trying to keep these big shapes right. There we go. Nice and horned. Alright, I'm just going to fill this in and start erasing where the holes are. I think that'll be easier than actually trying to draw every one of them out. Okay. Thinking for a second. Okay, so from here, we have a couple of little spots on either side here. And then from the horned bit, there's just some little circle bits coming all the way down to the bottom. And then a triangle sitting under this. And I'm just gonna get the gist of it, right? I'm not gonna be super particular since most of it is hidden. Rounder at the top. And then it kind of pushes back up at the bottom. And then there's a couple of little spots on either side. And then the parts that are actually going to be showing, I will go ahead and look at her crown and render them a little bit more thoroughly. Okay, then there's like another little claw kind of digging out there. Here. Let's get the shape of this right. Got this kind of thing going. Okay, and then over here, got some big old holes. Little spiny bit over here does something like this. Kind of reminds me of a little hand. Okay, we have another little bit that kind of sticks out like that. This part I'm going to care about a little bit more because I think this is the part that shows. Okay, and then this one has a little pointy bit up here too. It's more diamond shaped, but I'll leave it round for now. And this actually sticks out like this. And it kind of reminds me of a little bit of a flower. Let me just fill this in this part and I will just do it a little bit better. There we go. Okay. Like I said, I was going to pay a little bit more attention to this part because I think this is the corner that shows. So I want to get it a little bit nicer. But I think that this is recognizable. It is maybe not perfectly correct, but I do think it is recognizable. And for something that is such a small part of the picture, I think recognizable is what I want to shoot for. If most of this wasn't off screen, I'd go through and get it a little bit more correct. But it is, so I think this is fine. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. We're going to go to the tiara layer. And I'm going to plop this on her head. Can I move you? Okay. So I want to make sure that it is going back. And that it looks like it's going back. And that is what mesh will help me do in theory. So now I'm trying to put it round on her head. Incidentally, this is the tool that I use to curve the text on my schedules. So there's that. And then I think there should be a little bit more space on the side here, so I'm actually going to move this up a little. And then I'm just kind of seeing it in my mind's eye of where I think all these things should go. And I'll probably have to liquefy parts of it in place here. And that is why I did not insist on getting everything super neat. But I think something like this works. So let me just attach these last few points. Pull this out just a little bit. And kind of push it down. I think I got a little bit tall. And I want to make it a little bit rounder here. Feel like the spire got a little bit distorted, so let's go pull that out just a little. Push this part back a little bit. Just want this guy all pointing the right direction. And this part should be a little bit lower. All of it should be a little bit lower, I think. Okay. I don't think I like it. You probably should have duplicated it. Okay, here we are. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna resize the canvas here. I'm gonna add a little bit more on the height, just so that this way I could actually, like, see it. I better erase the parts I don't need. Okay. There we go. I got the basic angle there. There's the top of her head. And now we're gonna wrap it around. And I guess I will use cage. I find cage a little bit inconvenient, but it's probably what I gotta do here. So I'll put some dots on the sides and down the middle. Okay. Oh god, I already am messing it up. Like I said, I find cage a little inconvenient to use. I don't always remember how to do it. It's fine, I'll figure it out. To be fair, I do not use it very often. I try pretty much anything else first. Okay. Yeah, that just went away. Can I just do it with warp? Maybe. It'll be a little clunky, but it looks like it's working. Parts of this is going to be like behind her head here, so that'll just get erased. And now I just kind of want this part to start looking like it's going behind her head here. Yeah, that's not working either. How did mesh do anyway? Since I couldn't actually see it and was just kind of guessing. Okay, I guess mesh might be able to do it now that I can actually see what I'm doing. Let's try to wrap this around her head a little bit more nicely there. The center should definitely be back this way. Okay, yeah, mesh is working. It just didn't work because I couldn't see what I was doing. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, and I have to kind of put it back a little bit unnaturally, but it's fine. This would be the kind of thing that I'd fix after, but I think that's wrapping around her head okay. So let's go ahead and crop the image again. Okay, and I can just erase that little bit that was kind of sticking out, and I think that is fine, so I'll merge the layers together, and I will clean that up next time, but I think that this is a good place to stop. I think that this is looking pretty okay. At most, I just kind of want to push this back just a touch. And point this a little bit more toward the viewer, and this will end up getting a little bit rounded later. There. Okay, I think that looks good. So my lighting is all going to be super off now, and I don't think I need these layers anymore. I think her chest area is looking pretty all right, and the side of her body there is okay, and her arm looks like it's connecting correctly. So, yeah, the lighting is now super off again, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I'll just go fill in the whole thing, since I trust myself on the composition now. And I'll just do the super basics. Just because it makes me happy. So this is going to be for stuff lit by the moon. So that's what I was talking about earlier. And how I was just going to erase a part of things because it's all lit by the moon. So it'll end up being something kind of like this. A little bit on the cheek there, a little bit going across the hair. And then probably a bunch of stuff on the back here. That's going to be mostly lit by the moon. A lot of that side of the dress. What a little bit on her neck there. Okay, so it'll be something like that. So, still super messy, but it's getting there. Everything is a little bit smoother on her face now. And I look at it and I feel like her head is big again. How's it look without the light? Okay. If it feels big, I got a couple more minutes still. Let's just make the rest of her a slightly larger. I need to turn off the light. Let's make her slightly larger. And then I think I can raise just all of her up slightly. Kind of keep the same proportions on the page, and then I have even less tiara to worry about, so that'll be nice. Just double check everything here. Because I don't want to have to come back to, oh hey, guess what? Everything's big. Everything's too big. The head. It is too big again. Neck might be a little bit too thick, but I'm actually okay with fixing that next time. But I think her body's looking better, so I will call that a victory. Let me see how much of this I can fit back on. You know what? Good enough. It's not the final state anyway. And then a lot of this light is also going to be from the moon. That'll be the brightest places. So yeah, there we go. Let's go turn on the foreground, just because I do like to see kind of how things are coming. Yeah. Not bad at all. Phew, it's getting there. As always, it's like once the rendering starts, things slow down a lot. And the rendering has started. Is her hand off right now? Wait, where did her hand go? Oh no, it's there. Yeah, it's there. Just the nails that are off. Okay. So I think I can be happy with that for today. That face looks so much better with just the little bit that I did with it. And I will figure out how to make all this nice and shiny for next time. Which I do believe will be Monday. So I'm already looking forward to that. I'm having a lot of fun with this one. The downside is that with the way that I've moved things around a bit, no part of her is covered by a rock. I will have to adjust the foreground a little bit when the time comes. Okay. But that's some compositional shenaniganry that I can figure out a little bit later. We're just gonna keep rendering her until she's about done, I think. Maybe not completely. Just because I might need to move some stuff around. But I don't want to completely dig into the background until she is, like, ready. Just because she kind of informs where everything in the background is going to end up going. Okay. But that's where I will stop for today, so thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.